Hey guys, Mike the Vike here, back for yet another Rust update video. This week we actually have some pretty nice changes, so let's take a look. The first thing they've changed this week is they have updated the Holo Sight. The previous version of the Holo Sight was pretty darn terrible. It was kind of difficult to see in sunlight, and in general, I felt like it could have been better. So they've updated it now, and it's much cleaner, much bigger reticle, and overall I feel like it's definitely a lot more worth using. I think this will now be a serious benefit in PvP, just because it's going to be so much easier for instinctive kind of instant aiming. Overall, a fantastic change, and I just wish it had happened sooner. Next up, we have a whole bunch of changes regarding crafting times. They went ahead and reduced the crafting times for a ton of different items. They reduced the crafting times for the bolt, AK, semi-rifle, semi-pistol, Thompson, and custom SMG by half, which is going to be great for those vanilla players. The crafting time for arrows has been quartered. I've never really been a big fan of crafting times. I think it just takes way too long. And this is definitely a really nice step in the direction, and definitely going to help out those vanilla players. There have also been some cost reductions in place. Most interestingly, they made the double barrel pretty darn cheap now. It only requires 150 metal frags and a metal pipe. Like, that's it. That is very cheap. And since buckshot is also pretty inexpensive, I think that this is going to be a very popular option now. They also made the landmine much cheaper. It does not require a component. Previously it needed a gear. Now it only costs 50 metal frags and 100 gunpowder, which isn't bad. The gunpowder is kind of high, but it is a very effective tool. And they also reduced the costs for the metal barricade and the bone knife, which is pretty cool. The bone knife used to require cloth to craft, which made it kind of not very common. Now all you need is 30 bone fragments, which is really good. I definitely think we're going to be seeing those more often used, because they allow you to get tons more cloth from animals, so this is nice. Next up, they made some changes to the F1 grenade. They have changed some of the throw animations and stuff. I'll show you what it looks like. So the idea here was to make it feel snappier. They've been messing around with the frag grenade on and off for a long time, trying to make it more and more snappy. Honestly, I still don't think we're there yet. I have an issue with the beginning of the animation. This, when he pulls the pin, that just takes a little bit too long. The throw is fine, but the thing is, they've made some changes so that it's designed for PvP. The grenade is no longer really used for raiding. It does almost no damage to deployables. This is now just a PvP tool. And if they want it to be used for PvP, I think it has to deploy really quick. In fact, I would go as far as to say that it should probably just be a keybind where you just press G and it throws a grenade. I think that would be a really nice popular tool, because you just have a few grenades and you're set. That would be great. Last week there was a bit of an issue with skins. You couldn't craft them, unfortunately. There was a bit of a bug. Now they say that they've fixed this, so I'm going to go ahead and craft a chest plate here with a skin, and it looks like it indeed worked. Yep, we're all good. So it looks like skins are fixed now, which is very nice. The next thing they've changed is they've made... Oh shit. No, don't touch this barrel, dude. No! I was literally... Oh my god. The next thing they've changed is they've made fuel barrels a little bit more desirable. In the past, all they dropped was crude oil, which you then had to take to a refinery, which was a bit of a pain in the ass because they're only at rad towns and stuff. Now they've made it so that these things drop low-grade fuel. However, not very much from what I've been told. So I got 9 low-grade and then 16 crude. That's nice. Definitely makes it more desirable for players just starting out. Now you won't have to rely on killing animals in order to get a furnace. Maybe you just go running around looking for these loot piles to potentially get some low grade for that furnace. I think this is a good change, but I also think that it kind of sucks that no one really cares about crude oil. I think that there needs to be some changes. Maybe refineries should be craftable or something like that. I don't know. There have now been even more changes to farming. I believe we're at version 1.8 now. Now hydration will play a serious role in the yield you'll get from each seed. Basically, your plants will now change color depending on how hydrated they are. Plants that are nicely hydrated will have a nice vibrant color, and then plants that need some water will look a little bit darker and more brown. The more hydrated your plants are, the more they're gonna output. So for example, normal hemp seed, you're only going to be getting 10 cloth, but a moist hemp seed, you'll be getting 40 cloth per plant, which is a pretty solid increase. This is very interesting. I really kind of like that they're making farming a big deal. I kind of thought it was pointless last week, but now that I think about it, it's kind of neat that they're adding sort of a new element to the game. I now know of players that are seriously borderline addicted to just like monitoring their farms and getting the biggest farm they can. I think that's kind of cool. Apart from that, there were just a whole bunch of changes for bug fixes, some sound revisions, a slight change to the recycler and how it outputs sound. Apparently it's also easier to pick up items off the ground now, and a bunch of other little stuff like that. Nothing too crazy. But that's all the content that is in the game this week. Now let's take a look at stuff that's in the works. The overgrowth concept, which we saw last week, is making some very nice progress. It looks like they've got it now kind of in the game on the test branch, and it's looking pretty cool. Some of it, like the stuff on the dome, looks kind of bad, but it's just nice to see that this is in the works. Apparently he's working on a few more dungeons before he's going to put this on the main branch, so we just gotta wait. It also looks like we've got some progress towards bunker room art. Currently the bunkers in the military tunnels are untextured, they look rather unimmersive. But these new textures that they are working on look a lot nicer. These look great. And then next up we have some work towards the heavy plate armor. We saw this originally a couple months ago and everybody really liked it, thought it was sick, and it looks even better now. I'm really excited to see this in the game. I hope that this comes out soon. Basically, this would be a tougher armor than metal chestplate, presumably more expensive, but I believe at the cost of movement speed and heat. And then it also looks like we are getting some component artwork for the world models. Looking really nice. The computer, for example, looks really cool. And you'll see the CCTV camera in there and a whole bunch of other stuff. And that's actually going to be it for this week's Rust update. Overall, pretty decent bunch of changes. I love the Holo Sight, and I'm excited for Overgrowth. That's going to be really cool. This, of course, was recorded on my Rust server. It's a modded 2x gather server. It's got TP kits and a whole bunch of other stuff. Kind of a easier Rust experience if you've got less time. If you're interested in joining, there's info on how to do so in the description. That's all I've got for this video, guys. If you enjoyed, don't forget to leave a like. Also, if you're new here, please subscribe. I've got a ton more videos on the way. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.